and welcome to another Zoom Exploring Consciousness with the Earth and War Hub. And we're having weird energies today, which we can explore. The idea, and it might fit into this nicely actually, the idea has been to talk about a little bit about our DNA technology and how that tool, who does it belong to? You've heard me use that before. That's from my Access days. Who does it belong to? And I want to really talk a lot about this today. It's a tool, it's a question, as questions are always tools, to take a solidified energy and create more space for change. So everywhere we're having like a pain or a point of view, a conclusion or something, this is where we solidify that energy, and then very often it gets stuck in our bodies. We lock it into the bodies, and that's what we call pain then. And when we then start using a question, it's almost like we're creating chaos again. Chaos from a place of things can change, things can start moving again. Hi, Alan. Haven't been on for some time. Yeah. So Alfredo was saying his kid is sick, and he's feeling his stomach feeling a bit weird. And I had an interesting situation at the spa as well, which I'm going to bring in. That's what caused that. That's what triggered the idea to talk about that tool. Who does it belong to? And just before I went onto Facebook to look at a couple of things, and my precognitive workforce showed me a picture of cats and quite a long, description of who cats are, what they do, and how they absorb those energies, and I don't even know, we need to call them negative or something, but cats have this DNA technology where they are absorbing energy whilst we're sleeping, whilst we're living. So everyone who's got a cat knows. We've talked about, the unentangled observer technology that cats are having, and and the cat doesn't have a point of view doing it. Yeah, they don't think about it. Oh, they feel so sorry for somebody in the house, and that's why they're grabbing that energy, and they transform it, they catalyze it from within, and then they just do this and jump about a couple of times and then just disperse it again. So that is part of their technology. And they also say, when you have fat cats, there's obviously quite a bit of negativity going around. Now, my cats are super fat. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, is what it is. Let's not put a solidity onto that one. They must be doing a lot of work. And the last couple of weeks, I have to say, I've been having really heavy dreams. I've been sleeping so many dreams, almost exhausted by the time when I wake up. And they've both been sleeping in my bed. One on top of my head is a bunk bed. We share the pillow, and the other one snuggles around somewhere. So I've been well protected by the sounds of it. So why do I say this? Why did that come up? Because that DNA technology cats are, that unentangled observer technology that they are, our bodies are that too. Our bodies have a capacity. And of course, I think we can safely say that anyone that is in this forum here has a healer body. Most of us are healers. Most of us have a very trained body to perceive other people's pains. And that's when we turn into cats and we're just picking up the pain from these other people through tacit consent, without our knowingness at times, until we actually start hurting ourselves. And of course, we talk about boundaries, and we talk about, all of that. And there's lots and lots of stuff we can talk about. We keep uncovering the self-mastery, the self-healing, and all of that. But I think we need to really acknowledge that our bodies can do that, just like the cats. And we can also transmute it, transform it, catalyze it, alchemize it. We can do that too. But with us, we need to do a bit more work. We need to add more awareness, because the cat doesn't have a point of view about the negative energy, about the energy that they are transforming. They naturally pick it up and transform it, but we have a point of view. So Alfredo, you have a point of view when your son, is it a son? Your son is sick.
Oh yeah, 2 boys. Yeah,
Boy.
they're both sick. They had
So when
like,
they're both sick, you have a point of view, right? Your heart reaches out to them. And then often
yeah,
what happens is our technology switches on and we pick up their pain. So
yeah,
they're starting to feel better, and you probably start feeling like shit. And we mustn't get hung up on in terms of where they perceive or have their intensity and where you have it, because as the body picks it up, it will take it to the least to the place that is not in great shape at the moment, or that requires a little bit of TLC anyway, you know. So we as humans, we're not cats, unfortunately. We're not that blessed in terms of just pick it up and do it automatically. We need to, when we have an intensity, and we started off with pain now. So when we perceive that pain, when we start feeling it, that's when we have already locked it in our bodies. And that's where the question comes in. So, Alfredo, you can check this out right away. Who does the pain, you were saying you had some pain, some intensity in your belly, right? Who does that pain belong to? Is it yours, or is it somebody else's?
I feel like it's got to be somebody else's, because
Yeah.
I know I'm around a lot of people and
Mm,
like always close quarters. So I
yeah.
feel like, and then I've been thinking about it too, because I always think about, yeah, the DNA technology we transmute our environments, and I know I'm probably doing a lot of work on other people like unknowingly, but
Mm,
and I was thinking, I was like, I feel like a lot of people, they have to rush to the restroom around me. I was like, maybe that could be me, but um
yeah.
I don't know, like after interactions with other people, my stomach like always has like the
Yeah.
intense bloating, the intense gas, the intense like
Yeah.
all
Oh,
these intensities that occur around people.
so
So I'm
fantastic.
starting
You
to acknowledge it more, because I used to think, oh, it's candida or it's something else, but it's probably my skin suit, like doing this thing. And oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's look at this right away, and we can do a little clearing here right away. And that obviously goes for everyone. Yeah. And I've used this tool a million times on myself, and I still fall for it. And I have many, many examples. But the main thing is, Alfredo, you were saying probably not. And number one, when you ask the question, first of all, when there is a pain, you ask the question, because around 70% of the pain, if not more, is actually never yours. First of all, we have to all here on this call in particular acknowledge that we have a healer body. Yeah. Anyone who cannot acknowledge that they have a healer body at this stage, you may want to destroy and uncreate that. Anything that doesn't allow you to acknowledge that. So that's number one. And then when you ask the question, so who does it belong to? Is this really mine? And you get that, it's not like, oh, this is my dad's, or this is my colleagues, or this is my son's necessarily. But there might be just an inkling, there might be a lightness coming through, an acknowledgement of, oh, yeah, okay, that's not mine. Interesting. And I don't even need to know whose it is in order to let it go. The acknowledgement in itself that comes through the lightness in the thought. It's like, okay, there is a possibility, yes. Then what you do is you send it back. You return it to sender. We've done this before. I've done it many times before. So let's just do this right now, because we've got an hour here, a bit more than that. So if any pain, let's stick to the pains here. Any pains, intensities that you have at the moment in your bodies anywhere. Ask yourself the question, who does that belong to? And then just get a sense of, does it feel a bit lighter? Oh yeah, oh, could be somebody else. And even if you just pretend, don't overdo that thought process. And then what you do is you send it back to sender, you return it to sender, and we could always add a little consciousness to that, yeah? And it will go back because the energy knows where it comes from. You picked it up because your DNA technology has the capacity to do that. We might not have acknowledged that yet, or sometimes we just forget, and sometimes it just happens. Send it back to sender with consciousness attached. Anything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate. Yeah, that's the access tool. And if it doesn't shift right away, who does that belong to? Return it to sender with consciousness attached. Who does that belong to? You ask again. Remember, the question takes the solidified energy and starts creating chaos and starts creating space so change is possible. So who does it belong to? Send it back to sender with consciousness attached. And you might have to run it. When I say run it, you ask the question a couple of times. And then you start, you might, have a little yawn or something, or maybe nothing. And it starts dissipating, starts changing. And awareness might kick in. I remember a couple of years ago, I had in the kitchen, we had a leak and I had somebody come in and repaint it. And the guy came in, had a huge toothache. And he said, look, I don't think I can stay long. I have to go and, see to get an appointment. I said, no, of course, yeah. And I just thought, just let me ask the question. I didn't do any explanation, nothing. And I said, so who does it belong to? And he said, oh, my mother. She's got gum cancer. It was the most normal thing. He said it right away. Oh, my mother, she's got gum cancer. And I said, oh, okay, interesting. Yeah. Oh, just send it back. That was it. And the next day, he was supposed to come later to do the appointment. And he came on time. And I said, why are you here? And he said, well, I didn't have to go to the dentist because the pain had disappeared. And it's quite often, those people, they don't, he just didn't have a point of view. He didn't think I was weird or wacky or. He just answered the question without a point of view, and it just dissipated. With regards to pain, is there what does all of that bring up for you guys? Can you relate to that? Have you tried it? We have talked about it before a little bit. Anyone who wants to say something?
This is really helpful for me today. I've had some guys working at my house and one of them hurt his back and my back is all jacked up. So now I can say, I'm going to just return that to sender. It's not mine.
Did you get a lightness? Did you get a little bit? Oh, that could be, it's not mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? Lots of people say, oh, well, and then they're going to be in pain. No. Because you say, send it back to sender, you are adding your consciousness to what's going on here. So they might have picked up their pain from where they were working before, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. So what you're doing with the level of awareness, but you just acknowledging that this is a tool, you actually send it back right away, all the way back, and you're healing the whole lineage, not lineage, you know what I mean? Anyone who is actually entangled with that. Yeah. And
Yes.
you're declaring yourself as you as a sovereign being. That's part of the sovereign teaching. That's a tool we can use for sovereignty. And also as healers, Tanya, you're a healer and you're working with people. It's an amazing tool to use.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at, keeping my clients' energy out of my body. But, these weren't my clients.
And also, when you work with the client, you can actually give them the tool.
Yeah.
It's not just that we pick it up, but we used to do that. We now know when we have a client situation, it's interesting that we're less likely to be picking it up because we're much more aware. It's more like you said, you had the people in the house working, or you have it when it comes to, family members. Or I had a situation, back to the client, give them the tool. And also, just if you give them the tool, what you actually do, because as a healer, we are not healing, right? The healee is always the client, but
Always.
we are the ones who are creating the space for the client to heal, to find whatever change that they require. And that tool, even if you don't want to use it, if you have a client and you think, no, that's not applicable for this person, it's not a kindness or whatever, to tell them, just say it in your own head and ask the body. Yeah, because the body will tell you. The body will tell you. The client's body will tell you. And then you will know what else to do. Because the other thing is, when you pick up other people's energies, it's, you can't heal it. In the very beginning of my journey, when I was doing Bowen, I picked up some really nasty stuff. And I've had it with me. I started locking it in so badly because I didn't have the awareness of it. And it was almost impossible to heal it because it's somebody else's energy. It's not supposed to be in our bodies, So the best thing to do with that stuff is really send it back to sender with consciousness attached if you want to. Yeah. Tanya?
Consciousness and love.
Yeah. Whatever you want to attach. Yeah. And you're doing it for yourself. Yeah.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. Number one. And then, of course, it has a ripple effect because you're not turning into the superior bitch and say, okay, well, you need it now and you need it. No, you're just doing it for yourself purely because you have the level of awareness. Now, there's another way of looking at that. I was in the spa, and we had both booked, Emma and I, we had both booked a body massage and a facial. And after the body massage, I was being given the, relaxing and everything. It was very nice. And then an hour and a half later, I had a facial. And she did perfectly. Everything was just absolutely nice. And she was working with my hair and everything. My body was in so much pain, from the facial. It wasn't even touching any in my body. I was in so much pain. I thought, if this doesn't stop, I should have said something, but I was a person and I can't do that. And lying there and so much pain and I thought, send it back to sender, send it back to sender, send it back to sender. It's like, be aware of that. I'm very wary when you do swaps, with other people, be very aware of their energetics. And, when I look at those lovely, amazing ladies who work in these spas, fucking mask on, dark, because, they have to keep it all nice and serene, one body after the other. It's tough. Of course they have issues. They might have back pain themselves, whatever else, and it's almost like I didn't pick it up It's gone now, but whilst I was on this body and on the couch, it was like, when is this going to stop? Yeah. So be aware of that. And is it a sovereignty issue? Am I not self-healed enough? It's just an acknowledgement that my body is a healer. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how much you're going to send it back whilst you're on that couch. In this particular case, you just got to deal with it, or you choose to get up and say thank you very much and find a reason, to get out of this. But I've had that before with many swaps that I used to do and things like that. Any one of you had situations like that? So be aware of that. And it's not a kindness to yourself. And in fact, I think I posted the word kind, the meaning of kind on Facebook the other day, and it means obnoxious and stupid and ignorant anyway, the old meaning. So it would actually fit nicely here. It's not a kindness. Yeah, it is a kindness if you want to, take other people's, it is actually ignorant to do that, to take other people's pains, and at the end of the day, that's where the boundary really comes in. If you want to turn it around and you look at the fact, some people, they send you healing. If you don't ask, even if you don't ask them, they send you healing, and you can actually still perceive that as painful when they do that, because they're pushing against your boundaries, because you have a level of awareness, and people just send you healing because they think they need to. No, do not do that. Yeah. Stuff like that. So send it back to sender with consciousness attached. Beautiful. And for pain to start off with. Now, the other thing, having talked about the DNA technologies here, using the cat as an example, I was thinking, if you would compare your body, because we actually have no idea when we talk about DNA technology, what it actually means. Does anyone have a definition for it? I'm sure we've had, all sorts of definitions through Aby's work and everything. We have an understanding, and I think there is so much we don't know. If you compare your body with a car, what kind of car would it be? And then even just because you drive that car, you don't actually really know how it works, right? Sometimes you don't really drive the car to its highest, to its most possible potential, right? And then often, if you don't drive the car, what happens? The battery goes. My partner is out, he's working overseas at the moment, and I gotta drive the car because otherwise, the battery goes, or, all the fluids start going weird and wacky and God knows what, I don't know, you know what I mean? But this is the thing, look at how little we know about the car that we're driving. How little do we actually know about our bodies? And being consciousness, pure consciousness interacts with other consciousness. It does. Without us having to do anything. So apart from this tool, send it back to sender, I mean, this is a tool we can use forever. That realization of consciousness interacting with everything, what does that say to us? It says that we have to be in non-judgment, because it's the judgment, the negative judgment, but also the positive judgment that creates that entanglement. If we stay as healers, if we stay unentangled as much as we can, then what we do is we create that space, as I said early on, for the client to actually create their own changes. And we're just the witness, we're just the space holder. But also it's not really just, because it's actually quite a bit of work to stay unentangled, you know? It creates that possibility for them, or it creates that space for them to perceive the infinite possibilities that are available to them. And it creates that space for the body to heal. And what is healing? It's actually just that going back to its blueprint, creating the change, letting go of those blocked energies, of the solidification of our thought and belief systems. Does anyone want to chime in here, wants to give us an example or has a question? Yeah, lots of dreams. Now, lots of dreams lately, yes. Huge.
Martina,
Lana, yes, please.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I want to clear up the sending it back to sender with consciousness attached. What I was thinking about when you're saying that sending it back to the sender, you're sending it sender and someone's name comes up to you that perhaps the energy from X person. And we decide to send that back to the sender. And also you were saying that that person may have picked it up from someone else, but we don't really know how far back that went. So when we're sending the energy back to the sender, we are in essence trying to send it back all the way back to the origin. Is this correct?
Correct.
Am I understanding this correctly?
Yes.
Okay, I'm having bad internet connection for some reason today, so if I say I didn't hear you,
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for clarifying. Yes. That's
could you repeat? Yeah, can you repeat that again? I didn't hear what you say. Repeat that again, please.
I said yes, that's the idea. Send it back all the way to the origin of it. Send it back to sender with consciousness attached. You got that? You got that
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks.
no, you're welcome. And also, that sensitivity that we have as healers, as healer bodies. I want to take it back to the body itself, the DNA technology. Yeah, that healer body, those healer bodies. It's a sensitivity. And a sensitivity is not a weakness. So we gotta look at the sensitivity as a potency, as a powerful tool that we have. This is why we can work with people. We don't have to be in a treatment situation as a healer. We can be, working with people on, explaining computer programs to them, or whatever job we're doing. If we can maintain that space without judgment in whatever we do, we will be healing in some form, because anyone who extends non-judgment and unbiased equanimity to somebody else, as far as I'm concerned, in my eyes, is a healer. Now, I don't care what they're doing. This is what the self-mastery is all about, and the self-healing and the sovereign boundaries. It's not judging. Which leads us to the next thing, because sending back to sender is not just for pains, so let's not get just focused on the pain here is because every thought, every feeling, every conclusion, every point of view that we've ever had is coming from somewhere, and we're picking it up. And in Access, they say it's 98% of our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and all of that is actually not ours. So this is an interesting one too, because, you know, I mean, obviously what's going on in the collective at the moment, you know, we are perceiving that. This is the word. Perceiving doesn't mean we have to receive it into our bodies and lock it in. We can still perceive it. We can be aware of it, but we can also choose not to entangle with it and just leave it at that. And if we do entangle with it, which happens quite easily, well, we send a thought back to sender with consciousness attached. And again, the tool works exactly the same way. And they say if you use this tool, send it back to sender with consciousness attached, you can use it just like a mantra. You know, in the beginning, I used it like a mantra. And then, of course, you forget about it again, you know, and stuff like that. You can make yourself little tools like, I don't know, put a little wristband on to remind you, oh, I'm doing this now for the day or for 2 days or for 3 days, you know, and then put it on the other side every time you do it to keep yourself in that sort of space. This is what I'm doing today. I'm doing interesting point of view for everything that's coming in. Is this something you can see yourself doing? I don't know. I haven't seen, there was something I saw Abby posted something about discernment. I don't know if anyone looked at that yesterday. It was a replay or something. That might have been, you know, something similar to what we are sort of talking today in terms of discernment, discerning, you know, what we're picking up, what we're not picking up, what we're doing, how we're thinking, how we're feeling, and all of that. But this is a tool, yeah, that question. It's part of the light body activation. Yeah, you could look at it from that perspective, because the more you send it back to sender, the lighter the body actually becomes. And then you can start looking. Oh, we're losing Amy. Keep losing her. We once we get the clutter, well, once we declutter our bodies, our thought processes, our minds and everything, then, you know, we have a much better possibility for the DNA to switch on. What other kind of light body activations are you guys doing? Are you doing something in particular at the moment with all those energies?
I really, really liked was it a replay of the meditation that AB did last week? Where
Regenerate, yeah, that one.
yeah, where you're connecting to the earth and then just bring all the red energy up into your body and seeing the DNA strands, right, connected.
Yeah.
So interesting. You know, talking about other people's stuff, you know, when I'm working on people, I can see it as an etheric structure in their energy field, right? Almost as if they're living in a box of other people's ideas, right? Living from that old energy perspective, the global narrative perspective, or parental perspective, or DNA lineage perspective.
Well, can you imagine how potent and useful that tool would be for those people if they would actually start using it?
If they would actually start using it.
I know. They come to you because they say, oh, you take it away from me. And we all know it's not going to work like that. But, you know, when it gets to a stage where people start getting really, really sick, you know, like with all this overload of information, our heads exploding, like we said in those, in that that was a picture, by the way, I posted in Earth Nouveau, which I was at that spa place, you know. That made me think of talk about this subject today. You know, our heads exploding by so much information that is not ours, you know. And literally, as you do start sending those points of views and everything back, your parents' points of views, as you say, and the global narrative and everything, of course, your body changes. Your whole perception changes. Your experience is going to change. And then, of course, the other thing is what is going to change is the way you attract, your harmony, your vibration, your frequency, everything's going to change. And also,
Yeah, when you're attracting from your perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of other people's.
Now, this is a good question because, you know, so often we take on these points of views and we make them into our truths. We actually believe that this is our truth. So look at that. How many truths do you have that you have made yours that actually are not yours? And then send them back. Because, you know, we talk a lot about point of view. As soon as you use a different word, truth, well, is this really your truth?
Yeah, great example. You know, just using clients as an example, and I'll have to go in deeper to my own my own truths also. But you know, looking at this idea of that women have about marriage and family. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do because this is what my parents did, and this is what my grandparents did, and my great grandparents, and I'm supposed to get married and have kids by the time I'm X, whatever that age may be. And when am I going to find my soulmate? Right.
Soulmate is one of them. Exactly. Anything about relationship, there's so many lies attached that we are allowing ourselves to make our truths that are in reality just really lies. But it's nice to, you know, we always work with words, you know. It's really nice to use words like lies because it triggers. So how many lies have you bought from your parents about you and the way you are supposed to be living your life and the way you are still living your life? And have you been locking those lies into your body? And those lies that we have locked in our body, because we all do it, they create dis-ease. So all those lies that we have bought, and again, this is not a judgment towards our parents or, you know, wherever we bought those lies from. This is a judgment-free zone. This is an awareness. We're talking about awareness, and awareness and judgment is two different things. And what is the difference? Awareness has no point of view attached to it. Awareness has no emotion attached to it. Awareness is unentangled observer, whereas judgment is obviously entangled observer, emotional, and, you know, So all those lies that you've bought, just try and uncreate them, send them back, return them to sender with consciousness attached, love and light, whatever you want to attach. Not that it makes a difference. It's the awareness that already creates the difference, that creates the space. And then always when you do it, check in the body. Does it feel lighter? Does it feel more spacious? Do you feel more outside the box? Do you even need another box? And just acknowledge that, because we so often just, you know, do something so fast, because we are quite fast, and then we forget. And sometimes the gratitude is so important as the antidote to, you know, judgment and all of that. And that's almost the repetition, you know, leading to illumination. Determination, if people want to use determination, or that, you know, devotion we were talking about at some stage to yourself, to your body. And that acknowledgement, that curiosity about the body, about this DNA. So what else is there? What else is there that I haven't really acknowledged yet? And then, of course, when we get to that stage where we're just like sucking all that crap in, because this is, like sponges without discernment, how are you going to feel? You're going to feel tired, because it's actually robbing you of the energy that you desire, that that you can be. So another clearing is, anything, first of all, acknowledge what are you actually tired of? What are you tired of?
Hello, Martina. This is Carminia.
Hi, darling. Good to see you again.
My God, having like a battle to coming back to see you again. I made last night like a huge fire in my backyard, and then I did the the invocation from angels.
Yeah.
And then I think that was allowed me to come in to see you today, because I have been trying for almost 2 months, but connect with you again is having always something with the family going on. And what you said now about the family, the light that we have carrying our body, especially myself, I feel it for my mother that she always used to say, money is the cause of all evil. It was all the sin, that money was all the cause of the problem. And I coming from a family, like a 3 generation in the same belief system. I have been, I have like more than 20 years working working out on myself. It's like every time I get a little higher, like so many things coming at the same time. It's just like no, you cannot go. No, you cannot leave. You have to keep believing and seeing and in doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's having a crazy challenge. For example, this year, I haven't seen February 4 that my daughter had an accident. It's having like one thing after other, one thing after other. It's because I looking for, empower myself, and I want to grow my business. And I having so much challenge those last 4 or 5 months. It having like one thing after another. I said, my God, what is the battle here? And now that you say about your family, that the family, all the light that we have received, and then it's the program that is detaching from the program, and I guess the program pushing me back in. I said, no, you are not supposed to get out of here, because your family is coming from this history, of thinking that money is the evil thing, and then we have to accept that we are out of luck, and then we have to supposed to be suffering with so much drama in the family in both sizes. And I can tell you that I feel like having a battle. It's coming like, and now that you mentioned about the family, it's a wow, it's amazing. It's amazing because I experienced myself. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Do you know, Herminia, this tool is really useful for family.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever gets thrown at you, send it back to sender with consciousness attached. You don't have to tell them, obviously, because not everyone is open for that. You just do it in your head, send it back to sender with consciousness attached.
Mm-hmm.
And it really also helps you to start having an awareness of how you speak,
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things especially when we do distraction, and look, there is a lot of karmic resolution going on. So lots of us are going through this. That is normal. That is the acceleration of all of that. That's why, it's even more important to have a tool at hand, and these are little simple tools. I mean, I love the revocations and all the other work, of course, that's part of it too. But sometimes when you in the midst of the fray, you just need one single bloody thing at hand right now, send it back and work on consciousness attached,
Yes.
And because you immediately, the more you practice, like everything, the more you practice, the muscle gets stronger, and you will literally perceive the difference
Mhm.
in the body and the space that it creates. And
Yeah.
and it allows you to practice your sovereign beingness, and you're not stepping on anyone else's journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes. Yes. I looking forward to like detach myself and like cleaning a lot of stuff from my family, from my mother side, from my father's side.
Yeah.
And like you say, I cannot send in healing to anybody without that person permission, and I know that was one of my big mistake when I was younger, is that every time somebody was suffering, I want to take those suffering out of their back, and maybe mentally and not conscious about it, I put it on my back, because everybody in the family that needs something, they always coming to me or my friend or whatever. I was victimizing myself, like I'm the savior, in the
Yeah.
quote, like
Yeah.
taking the place of the savior, and then I destroy my whole life. It has been like a crazy experience.
And it's quite interesting how when we do that, there is such a what's the word? Flashback? No, back, back, backflash.
Backslash.
Backflash.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? There's a word, I don't know exactly what it's called. That you're hurting yourself. You're actually literally hurting yourself when you send healing to somebody, and that somebody cannot receive it, does not want to receive it. They don't even have to send it back to you and be nasty with it, or make a point. If they can't receive it, it's like you're pushing it against something, and it just bounces back and hits you. Literally, the energy.
Yes.
So that's what we talk about, and that's important to appreciate that and understand or understand, because when we talk about compassion, like we did last time, the next level of DNA activation, there is this element where we need to be sound, knowing what we're doing when we're doing it, because we can't afford doing that kind of stuff anymore, if we really want to step into that technology that is available to us.
Yes, definitely. We have been like a quiet experience.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. And the thing that we're looking for, because it was okay, how, I mean, the tricky part is like how I can stable myself and see what happened to the right and to the left, and just be like a neutrals, because sometimes even if I don't want to be catching the emotion of other people, however you keep seeking in the brain, you should like the program, it should be help, it should be helping or whatever. I say I want to be acknowledge what's happening, and I don't want to feel involved emotionally. However, that little voice in the back, so like the guiltiness that coming, oh, you should be helping, or something like that. Even that is not the word, or it's something, a feeling inside that I should be doing something.
So Herminia, this is a voice. You can use the same tool for the voice as well. Take the voice and send it back to sender, wherever the voice comes from.
Yeah.
And when we talked about compassion last time, where we are actually using our technology like the cats do, but because we can literally transform other people's lives by being the space for them, true healers, that's what a true healer does, but it does require exactly that total non-judgment and sovereign, I don't want to call it boundaries, understanding or understanding what it actually means, because there is this dissolving of the boundaries, because we have fortified ourselves to the extent to the where boundaries are almost no longer necessary, because there is just an entangled observer.
Yeah, it's like it's a detachment and playing at the same time.
Say again, Herminia.
Like a detachment from the result.
Yeah, I mean, detachment, that's the beginning, that's the first, when you start detaching. And you've got to look at, are you using detachment to create a separation? Or, and then you can get caught in your own detachment, and the detachment can become a prison of its own, where you can't reach out and nobody can come in. But that's first step to recognize you're too involved. You start detaching.
Okay.
Yeah? And then the next level is you detach without creating a wall between you and the other person, because you've reached the level of fortification. You've fortified yourself as a sovereign being to the extent where you don't necessarily need that anymore. Yeah. And I mean, that's, look, it's perpetual practice for the rest of our lives, as long as we are human beings, because it's
So
just
like,
the
it's
way,
like it's
right?
ending. It's just moving forward but never ending. Something like that.
And also, you know, remember we were always, I'm always a big fan of the mirror principle in the beginning. When you do that, you know, you look at the other person, and then you look at the reflection. So what can I learn about myself through the triggers that I have with that person, good or bad, right? And then
Yeah.
a stage of awareness and level of fortification, where you just attracting people towards you, and there's not necessarily anything to learn about yourself from that person anymore. It's just your light attracts, like the flies get attracted to the light.
Yes, yes.
So it's a bit like detachment, the mirror principle. Use it, always go good. And then also at some stage, you know, acknowledge, okay, well, you know, maybe it's not so much. But then you'll see that anyway. You feel that or perceive that, you know, depending on who and what you are attracting. And this is where we then go through the stage where the inner journey, obviously, where we start going through the separation of the entities, where we then, you know, sometimes have to leave the family, you know, or get a break at least, you know, to do the work, or start getting rid of some people. That's part of the healing, where we sometimes have to say, well, that person is just too toxic for me, you know, and that's it. So there's so many different levels. And again, of course, there's no linearity. We go back and forth and back and forth, and you know, but also, you know, not to judge your journey when you find yourself on your own. We've all been through this, right?
Yes.
I find myself very often, but also I do require that. I mean, just having been with my daughter for 2.5 days now, I love her to bits, but I'm happy now. It's, okay, thank you. Whew. She does things differently, you know. I love to walk a little bit in between eating and drinking. She's no, walk it. What is that? Yeah? And you do what you have to do. You're 22 years old, but you know.
Yeah.
You know, measure yourself. How much time do you spend with other people, and know where your limit is. And also, you know, acknowledge, how do you replenish your energy?
Yeah.
I mean, this for me is replenishing my energy too, because this is obviously talking about stuff that I love, you know.
Yes, yes.
That and or just being in nature, you know, we have so many different ways.
Yes, yes. Definitely, that's a very good one. Definitely, yeah. Thank you so much.
No, you're most welcome. So keep sending back to sender with consciousness attached. Keep sending back. And of course, now, you know, this is now the scene. We were talking about the seen world here. Now, our technology works in the unseen just as much, starting all the different levels of consciousness. You know, this is now the alpha state we're in, the meditative state we're in. But then, of course, the sleep state. What are we picking up in the sleep state?
Yeah, that's a big one.
What do we have to send back then? And this is where the cats, you know, come in, because they do most of their work in the sleep when you're sleeping.
Oh.
So how can we be sovereign masters whilst we're sleeping?
Yeah.
Again, there I have to say, AB's work is exemplary. You know, there's no such thing. Nobody even understands the dream space the way he explains it, the dreaming body. It's all that understanding of what a dreaming body even is. That's how it starts. And doing the dream time revocations.
Yeah.
which are plentiful and just absolutely amazing. I haven't not necessarily seen any other teacher out there talk about the dream space the way he does. The Dreamtime societies, the understanding of the Dreamtime societies, what we're interacting with. Dream world, super intense. Yeah, very intense. Well, what are we doing? We're doing a lot of work at the moment in dream space, healing ourselves, but also healing the collective, you know. And again, we got to acknowledge that. That's the vehicle we're driving. And that is DNA technology a lot, right?
Yes, yes.
Dreaming body, what the dreaming body does and all of that. So just having an understanding of that. And then also send it back to send. I mean, when I get up now, because I have such heavy dreams, I basically do a lot of destroy and create all the stuff that happened in the dream space, you know?
And created it for the dream space too? Oh, okay. Oh, you know, because in the book, the Andrew book, I see one of the chapter talking about the dream body, the dream body. I have to go back to read the chapter. In the end, yes, because I was wondering, because that means we have the dreaming space that we have and what we're doing in our dream time is affecting mostly what we experience in the physical, this 3D dimension, right?
Well, yeah, it's affecting us in this reality and all the other bubbles of realities that we're part of, you know. So because you know, we get to a stage now at our level of awareness, at a certain level of awareness, where there's no difference between male and female, good and bad, you know, because the polarity, the polarization starts disappearing. And then you also got to add the idea of, okay, so is there really a difference between dreaming and dreaming world and this reality, you know?
Yes.
In and unseen, you know, this veil gets lifted more and more. And this is the whole idea of us being sovereign, because, you know, otherwise it's going to get a bit wacky, you know, if we're not fortified enough where we're finding ourselves.
Yes, yes.
With the dream. Yeah, you're welcome, Herminia. Thank you for coming on and talking. And also, you know, the dream, I always think of the dream time as well. You know, I always make the connection with the elimination, the first bowel movement in the morning. It's a nice one. You can always work with that. You're just releasing the dream time trash. Yeah. And you go from the third eye all the way into the fourth eye, elimination, you know, and just really get into the mode of that. All these are tools. Yeah.
Yes.
And as you do that, you can actually say physically you're doing what you're doing and send it back to center with consciousness attached, or just destroy and uncreate, you know? Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Thanks.
Good.
I'll do that in the morning when I wake up and I use the bus. However, I keep in like remind myself in the moment when I wake up to, you know, not jump like all the program come to the mind and the body right away. I try to like keep a neutral 5-10 minutes in my bed to be conscious in that moment, and then looking the way that all the problem that was from the last day not coming, just jumping right here, like
Yes.
I'm landing, I need all my garbage back, like something like that. I'm looking forward to do something like that now.
Yeah. And obviously also you're using the time in the morning where you're still a bit in that theta state where you're writing down your dreams, or at least, you know, if you can't remember the dream, just write down the energies that came through, you know, and stuff like that, because this is also a way of getting it out of your subconscious mind, you know, by writing it down basically. Yeah, sorry about the guys, you know, you are in and out at times today, but you can always listen to the replay afterwards. But do we have any questions? Any cool dreams you want to share? Anything going
Martina?
on? Yes, Lana.
Martina, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
You just said the dream and the energy of the dream. How would one, and this is for the general audience. Is there a simple way to clarify the difference?
You were breaking up a little bit in the beginning. The difference between what? The dream and the dream energies?
Yes, that's the question. Yes.
Okay. So, well, when I say dream itself, then you recall more of the details. Yeah. So you just write down the symbolism. You know, I have, my dreams are very symbolic. I have very symbolic dreams at the moment. I mean, wacky stuff. Yeah. I have no idea where that comes from. And what I do is I just take it and write it down. Yeah. I mean, the other night I was breastfeeding two kittens. All right. So I was just, you know, writing down what happened to the one cat, yeah, to the other cat without even trying to find out what it was, you know, just write it down so that you don't forget that kind of stuff. Sometimes I wake up and I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm like, oh God, what was that now? And then I go with the energy because I can't really recall what happened, but I feel like, I feel like I feel like I've worked with a collective. Yeah. Write it down. Been doing some healing. Yeah. Healing energies. Just write down. Or sometimes there's a sadness. Sometimes there's an excitement. Just write down the energy of it, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And even if you have a dream, you can
So
remember.
it's just a memory of what
You really
you
break
recall in the dream, and
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So
yeah, I'm breaking up here. I could barely hear you sometimes.
So Amy's saying, I just dreamt of a huge green pepper. Well, fantastic. How did that make you feel? what came with the green pepper, you know? And then just yummy. Okay. What, you know, whatever, just like a little bit around that. And then obviously you can just
Can I try to talk? Let's see if it'll work today. My internet's bad too.
Yeah.
But I had this huge green peppers. And then there was like, I don't know if you guys know what stuffed green peppers are. Okay. So I had to buy these green peppers and then the ground meat and everything, the mixture was like right next to me. So I'm trying to buy the green peppers and trying to buy the ground meat to stuff it in. So I don't know. I felt like it was something ancestral, like a meal of some kind. Yeah.
Here you
That's
go.
what it felt to me. But it was funny. It was just comical in the grocery store trying to stuff the meat in the pepper.
Fantastic. Well, that's what this is all about. Just have some fun with your dreams, right?
Right. Yeah.
And not every dream makes sense, but you can do whatever you want with it. And of course, the other thing is as well, which I've been doing, what was that? It was another, I can't now remember. I've written it down. But sometimes you have a dream and that you slightly like, oh, okay, so that was not necessarily joyful, right? And then you wake up and even you write it down, you're still in that space, you know, go back in a meditative state, or just imagine, use your imagination, your visualization to continue the dream in this reality. Yeah. So just continue the dream and make it your own. Because, you know, when you dream, it's your dream. It's also your imagination, everything that, you know, happened through the day, and then obviously where you went and all these places. So it is really, look at the dreaming as an imaginary process and keep on working with it the next day if you want to change it, you know. Or if you, like, for instance, this one kitten was huge and the other one wasn't, and I thought, well, what's going on here? And I was already awake and I just checked if the breast milk was working in both, you know. And it was, and I thought, okay, well, that's good, because initially it was, okay, well, that's obviously not working, the right side of the body, and this is my Korean, la la la. No. And I thought, okay, let me check. I was like, oh, it was working. He just didn't want to drink. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? It's just such a weird, you know, example, but actually quite funny in a way. But that's what I'm saying. You use your dream and do whatever you want with it. And it makes a difference. It made me feel lighter, because initially I thought, oh, there's something wrong and I've got breast cancer. No, I didn't think that, but you could, right?
Yeah. That makes sense, because if we are co-creators, that means doesn't matter what I happen in my dreams, I can just transform it, right? Because I have the power to be a co-creator at the same time, and not just jump in the negative side of the dreams and trying to find answer. Oh, what happened now that I was crossing this?
It's not
And
you're not the victim of your dream. It's like, oh my God, I dreamt that. No, you are the creator of your life. You're the creator of your dream, right? And that's really empowering when you start doing that, you know? You know, it makes a difference in this. Like we said, whatever happens in the dream does have an impact on this life too. And if it makes you, you know, feel better from a dream perspective, well then, you know, there are no victims in the universe. Well, you know, maybe I was on Lyra and, you know, having something going on there. I don't know. I've got a bit of a Lyran connection anyway, so yeah. But that's okay, you know. Yeah, be curious, play with it. And the rest, send it back to sender. You don't like, send it back to sender with consciousness attached. Just because you can.
Yeah.
Alan, how are you doing? We haven't seen you for some time. You doing okay?
Let me just unmute here. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I just had to deal with my mother's death, which happened a couple of weeks.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. This show was rather timely for me, because I was feeling a little pain around my heart area, around the rib cage, and I used some of your techniques, and I sent it right back, and most of it did go away. So it wasn't my.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So is she communicating with you in or not yet? It's probably a bit too early.
I've had one Dreamtime connection, which I was pleasantly surprised at.
Yeah.
And, it was in a semi-lucid state, because I was somewhat still awake. And I think that was probably about 5 or 6 days after she had passed. And I had been wanting that, welcoming it. And it was very strong. I had my eyes open, and, you know, I could see a lot of bright light coming through. And I said, okay, so this is what it's like when you're dealing with the unseen world.
Do you know what, Alan? In the Buddhist tradition, they actually say it takes about 10 days for the soul to really move on. So when you talk about 6 days or something, that could be probably her actually just saying, really, hey, I'm out of here, Alan. You just have a good time now, you know, it's okay, all is good, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's really
correct.
Were you there with her when she passed over?
Sadly, no. It was at the hospice, but that was okay. She was going in and out of the between both worlds. I just wanted to give her the time to have her guides and guardians and her angels, and so I didn't disturb that. It was very, very peaceful when she passed. You know, she passed with a smile on her face.
Beautiful.
Very similar to my father. So it was a good passing, and I used quite a bit of Andrew's material in terms of the rites of passage for the cremation ceremony.
Fabulous, yeah.
And I very much enjoyed it. It was just recently I've just been having that little pain, and so your technique today was just really, really good. Very.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, keep using it, send it back. You know, any thoughts that come in, good or bad, doesn't really matter, just for practice, send it back to sender, consciousness attached. Know that you're doing any awareness work that we do is obviously helping, not just us, you know, whoever wants to receive it. So that's fantastic. Oh, good to hear.
Yeah. Martina, I was just kind of curious, how is your mother doing?
My mom, I'll tell you what, guys, she keeps coming back. I don't know what's going on with her. She's amazing. She is still around. She has, you know, mom has been very strong, interesting character. And I think with all that physical stuff that she's been going through over the last couple of years, she's done a lot of work. And I remember saying to her, you know, a couple of years already, I said, Mama, because she said, oh, I don't think I can keep doing this. Your mum is 84 now. It's not old, you know. And I said, every moment that you're here makes a difference, you know. Leave when you're ready, you know, and it's your choice. Like you said, you know, Alan, your mom, she had a smile on her face. And I think she even had a near death the last time around, from what she was telling me, you know. So she had really lots and lots of releases over the time in and out of hospital. So she's at home at the moment, and my dad's very cool. He's looking after her, and they're doing okay. And it's amazing. Their relationship has improved as well now, because she's more dependent on him, so she has to shut up. I hope she's not. No, she wouldn't watch this. But yes, so thanks for asking. Yes, now she's around. She's going strong.
That's wonderful to hear.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Everyone's a bit.
May I say something here?
Please do, Lana.
Martina?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say, Alan, I'm really sorry to hear about your mom, but I wanted to share with you that my dad passed away recently as well, about 2.5 months ago. And what Martina had mentioned before was that 8 months after he passed on, I dreamt him. And I saw him, he didn't say anything to me, but I saw him and he was really happy. And he looked like he was in his 30s, 40s. So I just wanted to let you know that and share that with you.
Oh, thanks. No.
Thank you, Lana. That was very kind of you.
Yeah.
And pretty amazing.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, you're welcome.
It's the other side of separation of density, isn't it? Where we have to learn to let go, where we have to, and I think with the awareness that we have and the understanding, you know, what this impermanence of life is actually, death is such an integral part of who we are, you know, and such a big teaching for all of us, where we really have to, you know, teach other people who want to know that it's okay. It's you know, it's just a choice. I know that really gets people going when I say it's just a choice. Got me going as well in the beginning. But at the end of the day, it is a choice. And lots of people are choosing to move on, because this is the long-term agenda. You know, we have to acknowledge. We don't have to, but we can acknowledge it, because we understand now that, you know, everything's happening on top of each other anyway, you know. And eternity is in the present moment, no matter where we are.
Yeah. I think it's because we see it in, because it's like a linear process, and it's not, it's like we are in so many different places at the same time, that for our mind is so used to grab it that we just get in 1 second, and the next second we forget about that. Because
Yeah, and it's the education system, you know, especially over the last couple of 100 years, where it's just gone wrong. It's just been buying the lies. It's bad to die, you know. Is it really, you know? And really, you know, there will be a lot of opportunities, possibilities for us to step up as teachers, to actually talk about death from a non-judgmental perspective, from a joy and celebration perspective. And Ellen, you'll know, and Lana, you know, we all had people die. There is such an honoring in being part of that process, isn't it? There's such a, being able to witness and to help them cross over because of the understanding that we have is just like, wow.
Yeah.
Really, wow.
That's very powerful, Martina, because now that you mentioned, I remember when my grandmother was passing and I was here in the United States, she was in my country, Dominican Republic. And then she was so attached to me that I saw her in a little girl kissing me like a few weeks before she passed away. And I called and asked, and they said, she's okay. I said, I don't like that dream because she was kissing me like a saying goodbye. And in that time, I was reading the bottle. It's the book from the is the Tibetan book about the deaf that they guide people to or teach how to help the Passover and the translation.
It's quite a thick book, isn't it? A yellow big one.
Well, the one that guys, I think it was
Yeah.
a version. Any case, but I was learning about that in that moment when she was in the process, and I was able to guiding her. I was getting to the airport when they told me that she died, and then instantly I concentrate myself with the technique in the book, and I was guiding her to go, don't stay around, to keep moving forward and go through the light, and then just like the next day she came to me in my dream. She said, I crossed over. And she told me that I managed to go. She was explaining to me in my dream that she was okay. And it was because the job I did when she was in the process. Because as she was dying, I was feeling in my body all the emotion that she was feeling.
Yeah.
Because I was doing that job in that moment. And then I saw when she said like a thank you. She doesn't say thank you. However, the feeling was like a thank you feeling, right?
Yeah.
And when she told me that I passed, because I was guiding her, don't stay around and don't stay around. Don't worry about the family. You know, I was guiding her, keep moving forward.
Fantastic.
And she gave me the confirmation in the dream.
That's fantastic. And that's one of the biggest favors or the biggest gifts you can give a passing or somebody who is on the way out, to actually give them permission to move on, give them permission, because so many of them keep hanging in their pains and everything just because they literally do need permission sometimes to move on.
Because the family emotion, then they don't feel the sorrow to the family, and they don't want to leave the family behind. It's a very, very challenging moments.
Yeah.
With attachment.
There's another thing, because we were talking about pain and taking on pains and stuff. I do remember my grandmother. I think I was 12 when she passed, and I didn't really know her, but I was at 12 in my generation. Wasn't the 12 what you're getting now. You know, I didn't have a phone or anything, and I was sitting with this lady I didn't even really know. Anyway, the next thing is she dies, and I'm like, oh God, what am I supposed to do? I had no idea where to go to get some help, you know, to phone or anything. And that judgment of myself that I couldn't be of help, not really knowing what was happening at the time, was with me for 12, started bowing when I was around 40, well, about 30 years. I had locked the pain of that, me not being able to move. I had locked it in my knees.
Yeah.
That was the judgment, and you know, of myself, of not, you know, whatever pain, or God knows, maybe there was other judgment as well. It took me to, when I started doing the Bowen technique, it was the first time where I started releasing around that, because I felt so alone, so incapable of helping her. I had no idea what I did. I probably did the right thing anyway. If I think back now, I did, but of course I had no idea. So this is where we can lock pain into our muscles, ligaments, you know, anywhere, organs, from situations like that.
Wow,
to be
amazing.
Judgment, or even lies that we bought or anything, that yes, but also the judgment of ourselves, you know, that, yeah. But anything can be released. Yeah, we can. And, you know, sometimes it takes a bit longer, depending on what journey you're on, how many distractions. I had too many distractions all my life to even think of, you know, what was going. Another thing, guys, you know, I was talking to my mum actually the other day, and she was telling me Dad was lying down with some knee pain. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I hope he's going to feel better soon. I wasn't entangling or anything. Next morning, literally, I wake up with my knee in pain.
Wow.
What the hell? I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I think I woke up, I hadn't done anything strenuous. What is going on? Body immediately, okay, I'll take that. What? I said, no. Send it back to sender. Didn't take long, it was gone. I've done this so many times. My brother once, big brother, had he fell through the roof, broke his hand, his wrist. I did a Bowen on him a couple of years ago. Did a Bowen on him. Literally within an hour, my entire wrist arm was in pain.
Wow.
Send it back to sender. Didn't take long. Gone. Thinking, no, I'm not doing this. But my body was so conditioned, you know, and you guys know that. I mean, your bodies, when you have a healer body from very age onwards, from very long, you know, early onwards, nobody tells you shit like that. You know, and it's not just the pains you're taking on, because the pain is obviously a result already of a judgment, of a conclusion of it. So when you grow up in a very turmoil, it doesn't even have to be just the family itself. It can be the consciousness of the country you're in, right? You're tapping into. And of course, worldwide now, because we have much more exposure to all of that, ignorance is bliss to a certain extent. The less you know, but the more you know. This is why I always say, you know, awareness is not for pussies. Yeah. The more aware you become, the more responsibility you have to take for your sovereignty. And don't judge yourself when it happens. Yeah. It's normal. It's okay. Just use the tools. And then enjoy even more that actually the tools work. And then share the tools. But sharing is not necessarily always caring. Know who you're talking to. Share it here. Share it with people who actually, you know, want to hear. Don't share it with the guys who don't want to hear. Backlash. Stab in the back. No. Every time my awareness increases, I know I need to step up. Yeah.
And, Martina,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So you were saying about the knowledge. So just quoting what Andrew would say, he would normally say your knowledge is equal to your responsibility in the moment. So the more you know, the more responsible you have to become about what's going on around you and around the world.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And part of the responsibility is staying out of judgment. Get out of this polarization. Yeah. And also it's an understanding that, you know, just because right and wrong, black and white, and all of that used to be the way we were working within this reality, creating almost within this reality. This is no longer the way we can create on the dharmic path. Karmic resolution stops at some stage. I mean, we know that this whole awakening business is to stop the law of karma, the universal law of karma, right? And most of us, look, we're walking not just one path, we're still walking the dharmic path. And, you know, and the other thing is as well, think of multidimensionality. Yeah. So there's one in the book. If you guys read the book, there was one, I think it was on the karma. We used the example. I had a situation with somebody that just exploded. And I thought at the time I was going to leave that person. And it is in the karma section, I think. I was going to leave that person. And there was like a total elation. It was just like, oh, I felt amazing. Yeah, I started dancing for 2 hours after that. Now, I didn't leave that person. Not in this reality. So remind yourself, I did leave the person in a different reality. Yeah. So you have to really acknowledge your multidimensionality. So whilst certain karma we might have resolved the karma on this reality and in this bubble, but we're still creating in a other bubble. So everything we do or not do creates, because it's not, there's so many shards, parts, and avatars and I ams and everything that is around, and we must remember that. That's part of the responsibility, to start thinking, and we're not just creating, but the choices that we're making here or not making, we're not just creating in this bubble, but we're creating in all the other bubbles. And that's why we also need to remind ourselves, send it back to center with consciousness attached. Take it on a multidimensional level. Yeah. Because sometimes you might get like being bombarded by one of your shards. Because remember, you're the avatar here. And we need to get out of hierarchy and out of competition, but not necessarily just with the peeps around us, with our own shards. And not all of our shards are nice and kind. Some of them are very unevolved, and some of them are more evolved. So this is the level of responsibility as well. And that tool, sending back to center consciousness attached, I mean, it works for that level too. Yeah, because we are the ones, the avatar, calling the shots.
Well, that's the reason why we say when we do the replication in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, universes, past, present, and future. So you're covering every part of yourself.
So this is
Can you
thank
hear
you
me?
for saying that now, because we can add that. We can amend that, saying send it back to sender with consciousness attached in all different dimensions, galaxies, universes, and time streams. Yeah.
It's
Multi-dimensionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make that multidimensional. I'm certainly going to do that. Yeah. Add that bit. Because all you're doing is you're acknowledging your multidimensionality.
Martina, you said without consciousness.
Well, now that we have the knowledge.
I'm sorry, I was just to clarifying. You said send it back without consciousness, or
Send it back, so return to sender with consciousness attached in all dimension, time streams, galaxies, universes, something like that, or make it up, whatever works for you. Just to acknowledge that,
Okay.
It's not the words, really. It's the acknowledge. Remember, it's always the word's only 7%, whatever word you're using, It's the oomph that you bring through. Even sometimes, the using, send it back to sender, send it back to sender. Just using that can have a huge impact, just out of my body. So Alfredo, it's like, I'm not hitting him. Keep moving, movement. And this is who we are, movement. We need to move our bodies. Everything needs to move, get out of the solidity. Get back into chaos. Order is not necessarily what works for our bodies, right? Because what is order? Trying to control something into order. It's limiting. It's a limiting space. Chaos is uncertainty. It's the edge of unknowingness. Trust, no doubt. You make me talk a lot today, guys. Internet's, yeah, okay. All right, well, it's 6:30 here. So we've done an hour and a half. Are there any questions here? And I would need, in order to carry on a little bit more, do we have questions? No, all happy?
Well, there were two things that you had in your introduction to today's topic is that no space to think and too many voices.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to say
Yep.
something on those two
Yep.
topics. No space to think and
No
too many
space.
voices.
Yes, thank you, Lana. So no space to think is pretty much what we were saying in terms of we are cluttered up with lies and projections and, you know, expectations from others and ourselves that we actually can't even think. We can't even clearly think because we're overloaded, which can lead to dis-ease, which can, you know, lead into anxiety, into depression, all sorts of disease, all the immune disorders at the moment, they're all part of that being completely overloaded nervous system. Yeah. And it's too much thinking, so much thinking that we can't actually think. So that was a bit of a play on this one. So the head's exploding. Yeah. Falling off.
And above that you had too much, and above that you had too much incoherent information coming at you.
Okay, so that's
so
part of
with
that
coming at you, you'll have no place to think. Yeah.
And also, you know, the levels of awareness as we're getting, you know, more richer into the tapestry of our true authenticity, the incoherence is really standing out, that we perceive it in our bodies, right? Because now we're starting to more through the responsibility, the self-healing and the self-mastery, we're starting to sort of know what works. There's a lightness to, you know, to what works for us. We're becoming more authentic. Now, when you get all this incoherent stuff coming in, which we're getting through the media now, even when people talk about, you can almost like, you can start really perceiving that almost physically at times now. Oh, well, this doesn't work for me. There's an incoherence for you personally. And then also there's an incoherence between what people say and what they do. And as healers, it's very important for us to understand that what is that energy. I often, you know, when somebody comes for a healing or for a session or something, they talk about stuff they want to work with, but there is absolutely no energy in it. It's like, give you an example. I had like this weekend or the last 2 days, my daughter was telling me about a boyfriend and she was distraught and la la la. And I said, MZ, I'm not feeling it. This is just you talking, but there's not really an issue. What is this? Is this really you? Or did you buy this point of view that you have to be distraught now because of that? Because you're not really. And she said, no, you're right, actually. It's not real. Okay, cool, done. That was easy. We didn't have to go into, what is a relationship and this. So as healers, you know, especially the ones that are working, and of course, you know, talking to people, becoming more aware of the incoherence of what are they saying and what are they doing, you know? And it's like, we don't even have to react anymore. I mean, it's like my partner is great. I mean, it's like, wow, and I know exactly he's never going to do it. And there was a time I was like, oh God, you said you would do that. You already know he's not going to do it. Or she's not going to do it. Can you live with that? Can you really trust yourself to know that what comes out of their mouth has nothing to do with what they're actually going to perform or not? Yeah.
Yes.
And also for yourself sometimes. Yeah. I'm gonna do it, thinking, oh, I'm not gonna do that. You know, so it's like, you know, becoming really more coherent and authentic with who we truly are. And then, yeah, where does it come from? It's like with MZ, that was like, oh, she had to feel that way because otherwise it would not have been the norm in terms of what others are feeling. But there was no energy in it, you know? So what's the point of having this conversation, wasting my time, your time?
Is that empathy with the norm? Would you say it's empathy with the norm?
Well, it's almost like not acknowledging that she is very different. I mean, can you acknowledge how different you are? Yeah.
But
Can
is she feeling?
well,
What I'm saying, is that is she having empathy with what should be normal, or
no,
her friends are
no,
feeling
I wouldn't say it's an
that she
empathy.
has to be feeling the same way?
No, I would almost say is whenever we do that, yeah, it's just not
Mhm.
acknowledging how abnormal we are. Norm, you use the norm, so I'm going to use abnormal. Can you allow yourself to
Mhm.
be not normal and
Sure.
actually see the potency in it? Because anyone who wants to be normal now,
Mhm.
she just wanted to be normal. She as soon as I pointed out to her that, you know, it's okay not to be normal, it was fine. Yeah. There wasn't even an empathy in it. There was just like, oh, I have to feel that way because that's what is normal in this case. Well, no. But it's really, and this is, let's all give ourselves permission to be absolutely wacky, weird, abnormal, obnoxious, all of that. Yeah. And anything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate. Good. And important, without the rebel energy. Okay. This is not inviting rebels back, the old rebels. No, we've gone beyond that. It's just, I'm just weird. That's it. That's it. There's no emotion in it. There's not a judgment. It just is what it is. I'm weird. Okay. You want to judge me for that? Thank you. Thanks for judging me that I'm weird. It's okay. I'm honored. I'm truly honored. You're not normal. Yeah, I'm truly honored. Thank you. So whenever somebody has a judgment towards you, you can always send it back to center consciousness attached in your head. And if you do feel like you want to say something, thank you. Thank you for judging me. It goes straight over the heads anyway. But don't add any emotions. Don't make it into a judgment. Oh, fuck you, thank you. No, 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 no. Just thank you. I mean, truly, thank you. From here, bit of joy, add a bit of joy. It's fun. Yeah. Lana, did we cover
Cool.
everything? Did I say something else? I can't remember.
No, too many voices.
Yeah, voices.
We
Well,
have to
voices.
do too many voices.
Yeah. So many voices from all these people that were picking up the shite. Yeah, the lies and all of that. And then, of course, remind yourself entities. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can be our own
Voices in your head that you're hearing all day long.
Who's that? Send it back to sender. Because those are voices of judgment, either versions of yourself, younger version of yourself, wounded versions of yourself, unhealed versions of yourselves, or you are actually perceiving a ghost, or just any other kind of entity. Now, there's another thing in the book we put in. I did a very extensive discussion with Andrew on entities, as I am an entity facilitator. And in none of the books, when I learned my facilitation through Access at the time, we had that amazing explanation what entities are. All these different, there's a whole entities and demons. So there's so many different ones. Because if you start working with them, if you ever do work with them, we will come across them. It's very good to know, what are the different definitions, his definitions, yeah? Because I've never ever seen it defined like that before. Yeah, fantastic. All right, guys. Well,
yeah, I'll also like to add, Martina, I'll also like to add, when we were talking about the voices here, we should also add to that dead ancestors' voices.
yes.
they could still be talking to us, telling us how it should
Yes.
be and how we should go about doing whatever it is that we want to do, because it's passed down from the lineage.
Yes. So I'm gonna leave you with the three things entities usually. There's only what I was when I learned it at the time with Access. There was only three things. They the first thing is they want to communicate to you because they need something from you. Yeah. They either need something, they want you to give a message to somebody else or to do something for them. Could be answers. This could be anything. Yeah. The other thing is they want you to help them, to let them go, send them to the light. They're stuck here. And they obviously perceive you as the light and the facilitator that you can be, to send them on. And I think the third one is they just want to hang around. They just want to be in your energy. I hang out with you. I had one of my friends died, I think 10 years ago now, in South Africa, and he's been with me for many, many years. And I had a chat with him. I said, well, do you really want to be around? Don't you have anything else to do? He said, no, I just want to be with you. Yeah. Contribute. They want to contribute to you on some level. And if you're happy with that, well, then that's fine. And then, a couple of years ago now, he's left. But he's always there. If I say, okay, hey, there'll always have a chat, if I wanted to. But that's your choice you have. And when you can perceive, this other world just like you do here, or what does AB say? Andrew says, he's got a what do you call it, a PA for the unseen, where he really makes, makes an appointment with them if they want to talk to them, whoever they are now, extraterrestrials or extra dimensionals or whatever. So when you do that kind of work, always make sure it works with your schedule. Don't just rock up like the middle of the night when you actually need some sleep. Just say, no, hey, no, 6 o'clock tomorrow we talk. Yeah. So you call the shots.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that in the last comedy show. Make an appointment with me.
Make an appointment.
My
I was
time.
with that as well. Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
purely,
that
again,
was kind of funny.
looking at the seen and the unseen, just as it's a normal thing. Yeah. I mean, especially when you come from his perspective, Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And they don't always, commit. And also the other thing is you do want some exchange. Okay. So when I learned to work with entities, it was like there has to be an exchange. Office hours, yes, and there has to be an exchange. They have to pay you, yeah. And the weirdest shit can happen. Some people were saying, they found a ring in their house, came out of nowhere. I have an agreement with them because I go to markets and the car booths and all of that. They always help me find cool stuff. That's the exchange. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a material exchange. Sometimes it's a hug, or sometimes it's just like whatever you agree with them. And sometimes it's a surprise. And again, one thing has to be said, especially with entities, when it comes to the nasty ones, not everyone needs, and this is also why I was a bit hesitant in putting it in, because he said not everyone needs to work with entities. Yeah. So you have to have a bit of it has to come to you. You don't just go out there and choose working with ghosts and assholes out there, because it's quite a bit of a nasty, and you have to have a certain way of dealing with them. So sometimes you have to be really tough. Good. All righty. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Agreed.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming on, and good to see all the ones we haven't seen for some time. And I'm gonna pop it on as always, and then we see you next week. Yeah. And I hope.
Thank you.
Again.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.